Hello, we're Lantern Valley Studios, and it's the monthly update video. What happened this month?
The end of March. Okay.
One thing is we pulled out all 30 world packets for every world that we have.
Technically, the packet for this one is all of
this. Most of them are smaller.
Kind of. Yeah, that's one of the bigger ones. These are the entire kind of storage compartment type of chunk of our story. That is all the stuff we did. We put it in the package and we tucked it away until we randomize it, so we draft it. And we took those all out, so they're available to us anywhere we go. We're going to go through them all very slowly over time and kind of work on the overall story at the same time as we do specific things, because something we realized last year is it's too easy to focus in and hone in on the very specific thing we're doing at the time and kind of forget the greater scope of like how it relates to other things, or like where it fits in, or what directions we can push it in terms of style or content or anything. So we're gonna regularly be working on everything every Sunday and then do the honing in on precise things throughout the week. So that's a one big change.
Mm-hmm. Another big change is the approach to drafting. So the approach to coming up with stuff. We're playing to our strengths more by basically he's going to do a lot more writing that is going to be inspirational for me to draw from and to come up with ideas from. We're making visual stories with words and pictures, so oftentimes we would aim to just make the words that would be on the page, which obviously they wouldn't really describe everything in the images.
You basically take out the description of anything cool, because the cool thing is going to be in the picture. There's no reason to describe the cool thing, it's on the picture. So when you take all that out and you try and write that, and then you need to like draw the cool image, but there's nothing about it except like the idea in the head, then you can't really get the cool image.
So anyway, now that if you write stuff that doesn't have
that isn't for a treasure tale, but it's just like normal
that
writing.
It's just like a novel writing, it will have descriptions of what's happening, and then we'll take that idea and visually transform it into the treasure tale, and then remove things that we don't need visually descriptive wise. And but mostly it's for
it's simplified. It sounds complex, but it's a lot simpler now,
and it makes it easier just to focus on the cool stuff.
Yeah, which is the main thing with each of these. We want to have them around just so we can look at the cool stuff, because it's really easy for us to forget just how much cool stuff we're doing, and then it's like, oh, it feels like work. It's like, why? Look at this, it's awesome. So those are the main two things. We're doing the overall story now, and we're doing everything in another format before putting it into Treasure Tales or other formats. And then seems to be going well, but it's like it's only been part of a month, so we'll see how it continues. Our drafting process and finishing process and all that changes consistently and just keeps getting better and more refined and different and stuff when we realize like, oh, we don't really need to do that, we could skip these and do it this way instead, etc. So this seems really good. It seems really good. We don't know how long it'll be, but like from everything that we've learned so far over a year and a half or more than that of like doing treasure tale related stuff, this seems like the best bet for just long-term kind of getting all of the coolness into one spot and making sure everything is like as we want it to be.
I guess a part of that we didn't really mention is the way in which we're going over all these things, but then we're going to turn these messes of many papers into very concise, ordered, these are the 4 characters, this is stuff about them, this is where they are, and all these various things, instead of a really complicated mess that if we ever chose World 2 here, we would have to deal with this. And
it's such a disaster because there's like repeated content all over the place because there's some things that maybe we've come up with it and we didn't know if we wrote it down, so we wrote it. And then I was just looking at some folders today on my computer of like unfinished Treasure Tale and HH scenes to expand, and there's like a little note, and I know exactly what the thing is, and it's just a single point form. It's like this needs to expand and then go into like world 18 or something. And it's just like, why is it here in a point form? I don't know if it's actually written in world 18 anywhere anymore. Like, might be there. So we just end up with a bunch of content that is taking up space, confusing to go through, all over the place, and like everything from recorded videos to notes on text documents to pieces of paper loose everywhere.
Yeah, that's another thing. Go through all the videos and then get everything off the videos onto paper. Otherwise,
in a concise form.
Constantly have to just watch all the videos.
It's good.
It just wouldn't work.
The idea is that long term, this is gonna like slow down the initial kind of surge of things. Like, so the pages we're drafting at the moment and the tales we're working on are probably not going to be like as completed at the end of it, but at the end of like a drafting cycle. But we'll have the important stuff there. That like there's not a bunch of stuff that we've done that we might not even use, but we brought it more to a finish. Instead, we're just going to have like a bunch of the good stuff that then when we go to finish it, we grab that pile and it's like stuff we can actually use and not more than that. So it's not going to be like a bunch of extra pictures that we've drawn of the images that we want on the pages. That's just like what's
finding a place for every cool thing and keeping it organized.
Yeah. And then leaving it at that. Not to go further with it. And then when we randomize a world to finish or something like that, that's when we take the nicely organized awesome pile and we can do something with it.
Yeah.
And yeah. So yeah, it's gonna cut in, all this. If we don't fix this when we roll this world,
it's just a lot of work. That
it's a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're doing that every 2 months or every 4 months or whatever, 2 months. What is it? 2 months? Every 2 months,
yeah.
We gotta spend like 2 weeks figuring out what the heck is going on in this world that we're now supposed to be working on. Like it's things like that. We're trying to cut back or cut those types
reintroducing the overall story, and then what does that do to our stuff? How do we then do something with that? Yeah.
So yeah. Cleaning up everything, making it concise, making the workflow way simpler and smoother. But the trade-off is we're spending a lot of, or rather, I mostly have to spend a lot of time backtracking through the immense amounts of things and figuring out how to make it concise while we're trying to draft and finish pages or anything. But it's going to be so much better long term. It's just unbelievably better than this. We have our bar is already really high. Like if you consider we're working on like 30 worlds and multiple other things at once from HH and LV and whatever. It's pretty organized.
Yeah.
It's pretty dang organized.
Yeah.
But it's not organized enough to the point where we can just grab a thing and it's like we know exactly what this is.
Uh-huh.
We grab this thing of World 27 or World 17 and has guardian names on it, some images, some Health of the Hero stuff, bunch of random things about cats. And then it's like, we don't really know what's in here. We don't really know what to expect when we open this. And it's going to be totally different than if we open World 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
not very effective. It's like our, this is like our filing cabinets of animation slides or something for previous movies that like Disney did, right? You go and you open up the slide and you can find all the original drawings from previous movies or whatever. And we go and then it's like every movie was done differently and no structure at all.
So for us, kind of like making these 30 worlds and a bunch of other stuff and getting it all organized in a way that we can grab one and start drafting it, it's pretty dang awesome. Like somehow we did that. But like now we can draft, but it's just not effective. But we can.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So we've been doing it. But then it's like after we've drafted a few, now it's like, we kind of know how this could be effective, and it's not this. So yeah, time for that's the main dealio with this march is figuring out how to make things understandable by us. Even like on the drafting day now. We're going to be kind of reviewing the whole world every single time we sit down to talk about it, so that we know it, which is kind of the point. It's like we need to know these
which
things.
is like more than actually getting the pages done to like complete where they're actually finished. Just us going over the story and actually just bringing it like more and more ingrained into like, okay, we know the story. That is like going to create the thing quicker, just because it's like it's like vibration, like us being in the story more is gonna
pretty much the to put in like really weird vague terms, not vague but different terms, is like the difference between what we want at the end of this year and what we did last year is last year we had the pages and everything kind of laid out and set up, and it was like, okay, this is pretty close to the direction that we want Treasure Tales to go and where they're going, and we've done a lot of things to get them really close to that, so that when we grab a tale and it's like we need to finish this, it's like it's all laid out for us, and then we can mix and match from there and be like, okay, this is cool, we have something to go off of, like character that has, there's some setting there and a story and some like outfits and outlines and where writing is supposed to be on the pages, etc. And we like take that and we make that good. And now it's like, instead we want to know it really well, so when we look at it, there might not be anything that's like close to where we're going, but we know that now because we did that all of last year to see like where it's gonna go, of like, okay, this is how many images roughly fit on the page, writing, whatever, which is why we want to finish this year too, like finish a page all the way so we can really see it. But we know where it's going, so we don't really have to do that. So now we just need to know it so that when we come back around to it, it's all really clear, so we understand it and we already know it really well, so that we can just like rocket our way directly to finishing it well. So yeah, that's kind of the difference. Instead of having a bunch of stuff really close to like closer to where it's going to be, so we can just like turn it into goodness, we have an understanding of all the goodness, and we'll be better at just doing the thing to just do it right, like immediately with whatever content is cool enough.
Do it once and end it. Just like this video, we only have one March 2021 behind the scenes update video. This is it.
One March and end it.
And as always, there's a behind the scenes package available. You can go to lanternvalley.com/lanternvalley and find it, or lanternvalleystudios.com. Check out our other stuff, and I'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah, time to get to work. Oh.